Yep. Yok.
It's fixed
Girdim
now.
de.
I think it's fixed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about you, right? It's not my fault.
No, it's okay.
Kampanya var orada. Kampanya reklamıymış.
Var onların hepsinin şeyi. İçeride şeyler vereyim sana. Yarım saate çıkarız, veririm. Shall we start or?
We're gonna start with a intro video, if you don't mind.
No worries.
Then we can begin. Okay. Okay.
Çok güzel başladı, çok sıcak başladı. İnsanlar birbirleriyle tanışıyor, konuşuyor, sorunlarını birlikte çözebiliyorlar. Kendi illerinde, üniversitelerinde yaşadıkları sorunları.
Buraya gelmek bir kere muhteşem hissettirdi bana. Yurt dışındaki bir Googler'ın burada gelip bize bilgiyi birebir aktarması benim için muazzam oldu.
Hem uluslararası Google'larla tanışma hem de bizim yaptığımız çalışmaların uluslararası bağlamda diğer üniversitelerle kıyaslanması ve ileriki aşamaları görmemizi sağladı.
Şimdiye kadar diğer liderlerle hep biz internet üzerinden konuşmuştuk. Diğerlerinin yaptıklarının hep fotoğraflarını falan görmüştük. Yüz yüze konuşma fırsatı bulamamıştık.
Bu kadar insanla bir araya gelmek, hani yüz yüze konuşmak, onlarla aynı duyguları paylaşmak çok güzel bir şey.
Google teknolojileri konuşuyoruz. Bilmediğimiz şeyleri öğreniyoruz. Bildiğimiz şeyleri paylaşıyoruz. Ve hepimizin birbiriyle tanışıp kaynaşması için mükemmel bir etkinlik oldu.
Pardon.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. This is the first event of Google UpTalks, and we are starting with startups and gaming. And I want to thank Mustafa Namoğlu for joining us here. And also, would you please tell us about yourself a bit and what you have done?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super thrilled to be here. About myself, I started my entrepreneurship journey almost 11 years ago. So I was raised in a family where both of my parents are engineers and entrepreneurs. So I'm very fortunate about that. I'm trying to accomplish my dreams. For the last 10 years, I founded several companies. The first one, and many people in Turkey especially know, was Mugo, which is a fashion distribution, retail, and direct e-commerce company. Then I founded another company, which is ikas. It's a new generation e-commerce platform for entrepreneurs where you can easily set up your own online store. And nowadays, we also have a new spin-off called Kolay Değil Media, which is a new age media company focused on YouTube content creation and influencer marketing. That's me.
Thank you for introducing yourself. Can you tell us a bit about how did you come up with these ideas? Did you do these startups alone, or did you work in a group?
Sure. The most of the things happened by coincidence. So, of course, I always had this passion to set up those companies, do my own business, and not to be dependent on someone else. So, but when you look at the bigger picture, my whole entrepreneurship journey, it's always evolved itself. So, the Mugo, I was the only founder, but at ikas we are 4 co-founders actually. So I could, also experience what really means to set up a company by yourself alone, and also with your partners. So it's definitely different experiences, but it has, I think, both of the setups has their own advantages. So I mean, sometimes being yourself alone could be an advantage for you, because you are more agile. You can you can give like decisions more quickly. You can make decisions more quickly, which is really essential thing for a startup, and especially for a new company, because one of the biggest advantages you have over bigger companies and like enterprises is that you're agile, so you can make the decisions faster. But at the same time, being partners and having great partners like we have in ikas is a great thing, because you're not alone. And in order to be able to achieve success in a tech company like ikas, you have to make sure you have a great also like technical team, especially your partners, your founders. Then you can feel comfortable and you can focus more on the rest of the business, like sales and marketing, finance, and so forth. So I'm super fortunate, regarding this. Yeah, that's it.
Did you meet the co-founders in Bilkent University since you were a graduate, or did you meet them in any other situation? Can you tell us about that?
No, actually, one of my co-founders is actually from Bilkent as well, but I didn't meet him at Bilkent. He is he's 8 years younger than me. He's a very young guy called Ömercan. So we have graduated from the same department, which is CTIS. But the rest of our co-founders, like Ozan and Tugay, they're not from Bilkent. We knew each other from the industry. Yeah, but most of the time, most probably you're gonna meet your co-founder at the university. So you have to be careful and look for any potential co-founders for sure. Yeah.
I'm also from CTIS. I'm just really happy to hear that you're from here too.
Oh, really? You're from CTS? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to hear.
Also, I wanted to ask you, so you mentioned about choosing your co-founders. Like, what qualities do you see that people should see inside the other people to work with them? What are the things you would actually be careful about?
The one of the first thing is, I mean, your partners and yourself should be super humble. So, and also you have to be like kind of expert at what you do, but at the same time you should still stay humble, because you can work with lots of genius guys, great guys. They could be great at what they do, but in the end, if they are kind of toxic and you cannot really create a culture within the business with them, so they always create problems, and you deal more with them than your customers problems and the other problems. So it's a big frustration and distraction also, because your whole focus should be on the product and the customer, not with your partners and not with their like personal traits and like attitude. So I think being humble is super like important, and at the same time you have to make sure that your partners are, again, they should be masters at what they do, and they should be improving what they do also. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
I see. And
what I used to look for actually.
Yeah, I see that. Since you talked about education a bit, also, how important do you see education in the big picture starting up a company? Do you actually see education as like a mandatory thing, or maybe like some people don't want to even go to college or something?
Yep. It's a great question, though. So, I mean, I have to be honest. Like I mentioned, like I told about this many times. Um, like the university is definitely important, but in Turkey we have a broken system where you kind of see like 100,000 like students go to universities, but in the end, the most of them study university because they think it's a mandatory thing, or when they graduate from the university, they're gonna have a great like title, great job, like great salary, and so forth. But in the end, what they don't understand is your title, where you graduated from, is not really important. What really matters is that uh, like what did you learn throughout the university, and especially at the high school as well. It doesn't have to be the university. So that's why I'm always suggesting people to like educate themselves, improve themselves like during the high school and the university, so they can watch YouTube or listen to podcast at least 4 hours per day to improve themselves, because the university, the classes and everything, the curriculum is not really like most up to date. So they have to improve themselves. Otherwise, they will kind of stick to what the curriculum or what the system just offers to them, which is not really enough for the business life, the real business life. Yeah, personally, I don't care about the university. So, of course, being graduated from Bilkent University is a great thing, but I don't really care much. What I really look at a candidate is things like like how the guy really improved himself or herself, like what kind of um, let's say social activities he joined, or he was belonging to. So yeah, that's it.
I see. And another question actually I had was that, so you learn these things in university or learn it on your own, like tech stuff, like you learn coding, certain things, but and you also have an idea, but how do you implement those ideas? Do you just like, go there head first, try to make an application, for example, you have the idea for, or do you like try to find investors? Is there any steps that people should know about?
Yeah, the very first ideas or the applications or the startups, let's say, I tried was directly like directly went into coding because I had the ability to code. So it was a big thing back in that time. But nowadays there are many no-code tools that you can easily produce, like web apps or like mobile apps. So it's even easier for you to start something where you don't really need a investor or someone with you to build that. I'm fortunate. My father was also a software developer, so I started coding at the age of like 10. So I didn't really have to learn it through the university. So I really knew it before the university. So, but it doesn't really matter. Like when you look at the latest tech, it's even easier to learn because there are lots of great frameworks, libraries, and everything. So it's always a great advantage to learn coding, but yet also if you want to really start up a business, it could be a tech business or non-tech business. You don't have to really know how to code it. Like what really matters is you really need to know how to communicate, so you can convince other people to join you, to start a business with you, or start a startup with you. So I think the most important, like let's say asset or let's perk that you can have is this communication ability to be able to, let's say, lead a team or persuade people about many things. Because when you start, like you're at zero, so it's T0, so you have nothing but your belief or vision or your plans or your like goals. So you have to make sure other people's also believe in those targets or your vision just like you, which is super difficult, especially when you're at the beginning. I can still remember my days like when I started ikas, the first day. So it's a big challenge.
I see that you mentioned a really good point that people like understand it the way you do. I think that's actually, as you said, is a great challenge.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's a big challenge.
so about like
Especially think yourself like you know you're like smart guy, like you can write code, and you're gonna graduate so you can start your own business, or there could be like hundreds of big companies or startups that would really willing to hire you. So, or there could be one of your friends who's going to start a new company, and he kind of asks you to join him. So you have like hundreds alternatives, but your friend should make everything. He has to make everything to convince you, like for you to join him, right? I think, like, what do you think? Like, would you easily join him, or would you?
No, I would not, definitely. I mean, I have actually received a job offer in that situation, but I wouldn't just join them because I don't see the importance of the idea and like how they would implement it. It's not safe to just, go there.
Yeah, like you see, like you said the word, like keyword, the safe. You said it's not safe to join them. So that's the point. Like most of the human resources in the market, they would feel like it's not safe to join this new startup. So it's a huge challenge, you know.
Yeah, I see. And not just about the tech side, also like doing any startup right now in the business wise, laws and many other things that come into account when you want to do in a startup. How difficult do you see it right now, especially in Turkey? Like, is it actually more difficult than before? Is it easier than before? What are the things that people have to consider before doing any startup?
Yeah. By the way, where are you from originally? Like you're Lebanese or Syrian or
I'm Iranian.
where?
Iran.
Iran. Oh, okay, because of your. So okay. Um, I mean, I think in Iran it could be even harder, but in Turkey, like trying to do business, like it's definitely tough, comparing with the other Western countries. But I don't really find this as an excuse, because we cannot really stick to excuses. We should, forget about them and start to find like answers or new ways to. We have to discover those new ways. So um, for the new beginners, it's definitely a challenge to start any sort of business in Turkey. But for the long run, it's a big advantage, because you have like after several years you're gonna have kind of thick skin, where you're not gonna be that like super fragile, like small kid in the market or in the industry. So you're gonna have a thicker skin. So even though like everybody is gonna bite you, you're not gonna be hurt because you have a thicker skin. So it's a big advantage, because you kind of learn how to do business or to face the challenges in Turkey. So especially if you're expanding globally, it's those markets is going to be even easier for you. So again, for the beginners, it's tough, but for the long run, it's a big advantage uh, to be here. And at the same time, like the Turkish market is always big opportunity for like entrepreneurs, because you can be in the B2B industry, or you can have an app for B2C, like the customers to the consumers. Um, like at the both segments, you have a great market size. So the total addressable market is huge here. Like 85 million people, super young, super open to try new things. The mobile penetration is great. Almost 3 million SMEs. So any sort of for any sort of B2B business, you're also good to go. So, but it's definitely, the numbers are big, but it's not really easy to start or easy to business with. So it's going to take time to grow in Turkey. If you're especially like self-funded, you don't have an external investment or so forth. So it's going to be even more difficult, like harder.
So actually, funding your startup is an obstacle, but what are the other obstacles that people normally don't see, while doing in a startup that you experienced for your first startup, at least? Can you tell us about?
Regardless of funding, you mean?
Yes. Of course, there has to be something that people don't see. You're just looking at the big picture.
Like the one of the other challenge other than funding is that the most of the time you're alone. So like people are not really open to support you, even your family, even if you're even like your friends or other peers, like colleagues. And because I don't know why people don't really want to help each other. They don't want to even share the knowledge or the experience. And this is where we are different, because like we have a YouTube channel called Kolay Değil, where we have close to 80K followers or subscribers. Most of them are entrepreneurs or to be entrepreneurs. So what we do there is we openly share our experiences, the mistakes we made, or the good things we saw that works out. So that I think that is the reason, that is the thing, that we could be one of the only entrepreneurs or the companies in the market that we openly share our expertise or experiences. So people really got it, like they really wanted to follow us, because they're not used to it. People don't really share their knowledge. It's crazy, because I don't really get it, why people doesn't really share any knowledge or like anything, like wisdom and so forth. But it's the problem. So other than funding, like finding this investment, actually the biggest problem is you don't really get support from other people. So you're alone. You have to like confront every single obstacle yourself. So you have to know it, like you have to know you're alone, and you have to be comfortable with it. You shouldn't be crying or yelling, oh, no one supports me. So you can't do it, otherwise you're done.
I see. I mean, that's why we are here, to share our experiences, and thank you so much for joining us to share these experiences also here to this community.
No worries, my pleasure.
Also wanted to ask you, so we talked about the other side, about funding, like how could someone actually fund their startups? Like how would you search for this investor or something?
There is not really a like secret sauce here. So there is not a secret word that I say to you and you're gonna apply it to your business and you're gonna find millions of dollars. So so if there were, everyone would have used it. So super simple. Regarding the finding or finding the right investor, it's one of the like biggest challenge that you can also like see or like face with. And this is something you also learn or improve, because it doesn't really happen overnight. It takes time for you to build this funding muscle or fundraising muscle, let's say. It also applies to me. Like we just closed our, let's say we just about to close our seed round, but it took me over like 75 days to close it, because at the very first days of the 75 days, I was not really experienced. So I made really big, like lots of mistakes, and we're gonna hopefully publish a like video at our YouTube channel and let other people know about our mistakes. So, I mean, it's the biggest challenge. Like you have to find out yourself. You have to watch like hundreds of YouTube videos. There are lots of videos at YouTube regarding fundraising, the mistakes you can do, or how you should approach the investors. Because this whole process, it's also everything you're going to do is all about communication. How you reach out to the investor, or how you speak, how you write, how you make the pitch, how you tell about your product, your customers, your long-term vision, and your exit plan, and so forth. So it's all about communication, and it's kind of a muscle that you have to work it out, and you have to improve it.
So I was actually also going to ask you, so how can someone know their startup idea is actually legit, is going to work or not? That's also, I think, one of the biggest problems people have coming up with ideas.
There is no a fixed solution or fixed answer for this. So it really depends on the occasion. And there is no guarantee. Like if there was a guarantee, if someone could approve your idea, and you would gonna know that, oh, it's gonna work out, you would definitely go for that. But there's something called gut feeling. So you have to believe and trust your instincts, and also your team and yourself. If you have any sort of lacking trust or belief about yourself and your team or your co-founders, I think you should wait, because normally you never feel like you're ready. You always feel like, oh, I'm not ready, something is lacking, something is missing. But there is, I think, a perfect time where you can't sleep anymore, and you improve yourself day by day. Like days and weeks and months passes, you still cannot sleep because you think about the startup, the idea, but you also improve yourself. So the moment that you feel really ready, and you can't not sleep anymore, so you're super passionate and you're willing to give up anything you have, including your time, money, I think it's a great time to start, because there is no perfect timing, and there is no perfect condition about that. So you have to, it's all about sacrifices. So are you really willing to sacrifice everything you have? If you can easily answer yes, then it's the perfect timing. But if you say, I cannot start because I could make more money if I work for someone else, or I don't really have time, whereas actually you have a house but you don't want to sell it, or you have a great car but you don't want to sell it because you want to start a business, but at the same time you want to have a house, or at the same time you have a great car. It doesn't work that way. You have to, there should be a trade-off. You should sell your stuff, you should have your capital, start the business. So this is the trade-off. You're going to start something, but you're going to lose something. You cannot have everything at the same time. You have to understand this mentality.
I see. So another approach, I think, would be to just keep trying, failing, trying again. Would you like that approach, or would you try not to go for that?
No, for sure. It's all about the consistency and the being relentless. You have to try, and you're gonna try and fail, but try again, improve and try again. That's the point. You have to be really stubborn. You shouldn't stop. You have to try. That's I think that's one of the biggest, the most important traits that an entrepreneur should have.
So you have to be stubborn, you have to keep trying, but do not sacrifice everything unless you are sure that you would make it. Is that what you would agree with, or not?
I don't really agree, because you can never be sure. Of course, you have to. There's a sweet spot where you feel more comfortable, or more confident, let's say. But there is no perfect timing. Like even at the best scenario, you're gonna take hell of a lots of risk. So it's a big risk because I mean, if you are starting something, especially no funding, like no investment, you're gonna invest your own money and everything. Like it's a big challenge. So you have to again, you have to be comfortable about sacrifices. So you should say, okay, I'm still young. I'm not gonna make money for the following 5 years, whereas my friends will graduate and gonna make good money, gonna have raises, uh, they're gonna buy a home, so they're gonna drive good cars, but I'm not. You should be okay with that. So that's the point.
So, since we talked about learning how to do, startups, there are so many, resources available that are actually, paid. They want people to pay for these to teach them how to, do such things, all the mistakes that they've made, as you mentioned. Like, did you go after something like that, or did you just like research on your own? How did you research on your own about these?
About entrepreneurship,
Yes, exactly.
did I get the question right? You ask about like there are some like training and videos that are
Paid. I mean,
telling
people, yeah, they
paid.
want people to pay for them. Exactly. Did you? There are probably resources online available for free, of course.
Yeah, I never paid for something, and the entrepreneurship is not something you can learn from a video. Of course, you can improve many like smaller like things from videos and other stuff. You can listen to podcasts, you can read books, but like being confident, having great communication, being a leader, and the other things that are really essential for surviving and managing this startup is actually you don't really learn from books or videos. Actually, you learn from your mistakes and the other people's mistakes. So I don't really recommend people to pay for something, and especially for the motivational stuff where you pay money and like get some motivational stuff and you feel like, oh, now I'm going to build the greatest company ever. So it doesn't really happen that way. Most of those people who sell those shitty stuff, they're not really proper entrepreneurs because they take that way to produce this fake material and sell it to just give the other people hope and the motivation. If you look at their life, they never actually built any company like from scratch or nothing. So they're just good speakers, good motivators, but they're not really entrepreneurs. So you have to understand it. And I always say, like, any great entrepreneur, like they wouldn't really produce such material and sell it because they wouldn't have time, or their main job is to create those billion-dollar companies, and they don't really care about those stuff that they would sell, for to be entrepreneurs. So people should stay away from this. Regarding myself, I'm again like I learned this along the way. I'm not. This is not my year one. I have been an entrepreneur or like startup owner for my whole life. It's been like almost 11 years, and I never worked for someone else. And this is what I learned from my family as well. So it's super natural to me. Like I learned from lots of other places as well.
I see. So, actually, when you mention all of these, you have done so many startups. You have so much experience about these. Do you have any cool stories that you would like to share? I'm pretty sure you have experienced some stuff that people would like to hear.
I don't really have like I have of course like hundreds of stories, and most of them we tell to people at our YouTube channel. By the way, I gotta go for another meeting. Like, do you have like any other questions or
No, it's
regard?
fine.
Yeah, sorry for
No, it's totally
not
fine.
being here. Yeah, okay, man, that's great.
Thank you for joining. It's
No,
great
it's
to
my-
have you here, especially
my-
as Bilkent DSC.
Yeah,
Seeing
yeah,
you here was amazing.
yeah, my pleasure of mine. I hope it has been like beneficial and joyful for everyone. So for any questions, you guys can reach us out through our Instagram, Twitter, or like YouTube channel of Collide. So yeah, just let us know if you need anything.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining. I guess this is where we end the session. Again, thank you for accepting to be here. As a Bilkent student myself, I benefited a lot. I think I learned so much in just 30 minutes.
No worries, man.
And yeah, again, we are so happy to see you here.
Yeah, pleasure of mine. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you for joining, everyone. So this is where the event ends.